about to be sent on their way. So I think it's about time we went back to rejoin Gareth.
And they're off for the Watch Racing TV in stunning HD maiden hurdle. And they set off at a steady tempo with Redzor leading from Western Aussie, who races in second. The red hot favourite at Clarendon Street back in third. A further one length away to Est Illic, and then King of the Cotswolds in the yellow cap up towards the outside, and going at the back of the field was Sharp Reply, his unseated rider. Sharp Reply and Charlie Hammond parted company. Charlie quick to his feet, and the horse galloping on after the field, riderless, seemingly none the worse. On they go now to the second. Redzor in the lead, all over safely. Beauty Dragon landing a little bit steeply in at last spot, around about 3 or 4 lengths off the others, coming over the third, and a bold jump in front from Redzor. So Redzor, this point-to-point winner, and looking to land one over hurdles. To Clarendon Street, in the mauve jacket with the black chevrons on the sleeves, over towards the inside of Western Aussie, then Est Illic in the light blue, without a bit wider, King of the Cotswolds in the black and white with the yellow cap. That one racing a little bit keenly as they swing out of the far straight on the opening occasion. Back in behind those, Welsh Rabbit, also going enthusiastically, and at this stage ahead of Uncle O, and Beauty Dragon is the back marker as the field, which is now being preceded by the loose horse, who's running a little wider out at the moment. They're about to come into the home straight for the first time, and Redzor in front. They're going a little bit faster now than what they were. Second place is held by Clarendon Street as the loose horse comes across the path of the leader Redzor. Let's hope he doesn't get in the way. Approaching the first of the 3 flights in the home straight. Redzor up and over ahead, all safe. Clarendon Street, under double seeking Nico de Boinville, travels powerfully, with Est Illic away to the right in the hooped cap of red and white. Western Aussie a little wider out, not the finest of jumps there from Clarendon Street. Shifted out to the right somewhat. King of the Cotswolds coming closer now, the yellow cap worn by Jack Savage. Further back then to Welsh Rabbit, the white-faced Beauty Dragon, and the grey Uncle O over the flight, which will be the last next time. All over it safely, and the loose horse now well behind the field and seemingly out of harm's way. A circuit left to go in this Watch Racing TV in stunning HD maiden hurdle, and it is Redzor still in front, travels nicely on to halfway. To Clarendon Street in second, King of the Cotswolds is now in third. Then around the outside, Western Aussie, racing just ahead of Est Illic. Then a half length further behind those to Welsh Rabbit. Beauty Dragon is next, and Uncle O is at the back marker, on heading out away from us, past the car park and out into the back straight where flights 7, 8 and 9 will stand in their way, and Redzor continues to dictate the fractions here. To Clarendon Street, King of the Cotswolds and Western Aussie in the grey and purple colours out a bit deeper. Est Illic follows these, together with Welsh Rabbit. On the outside, Beauty Dragon, and the back marker is Uncle O, preparing to take off at the first of the 3 flights going down the back. And over it they come, all landing safely. Not the greatest jump further back there from Welsh Rabbit. Redzor in front, King of the Cotswolds now as close as he's ever been. Goes up into second place. Clarendon Street is back in third now. Then Western Aussie from Beauty Dragon as they come to jump another. And King of the Cotswolds got that flight wrong, but got away with it, despite knocking it flat as they head now towards the last one going down the back. Redzor still leading up from Clarendon Street and King of the Cotswolds. With back in behind those, Western Aussie, Est Illic in the light blue jacket over to the inside. Beauty Dragon is out a bit wider. Welsh Rabbit now is being pumped along at the back end of the field, and Uncle O is now ahead of that one as they prepare to make the left-handed turn out of the back straight, beginning to quicken things now on for their final half a mile. and it is Redzor as it's been from the word go, with King of the Cotswolds on the outside, a close-up second. Clarendon Street gets a tap down the shoulder back in third, with racing next at Western Aussie, then Estilic from Beauty Dragon, a couple of lengths back then to Uncle O, and Welsh Rarebit is struggling at the rear as they come around the final part of the corner and level off for the final three flights, and it is Redzor in front to King of the Cotswolds, and Clarendon Street is now looking very menacing towards their outside, with Estilic running a nice race in fourth, and then Western Aussie arriving at 3 out. Redzor was joined by King of the Cotswolds. Away to the far left is where Clarendon Street is beginning his effort. On the right is Estilic, and then chases Western Aussie. They come to 2 out. Clarendon Street takes over from Redzor, who was untidy. Estilic along the inside of King of the Cotswolds, and back in behind those Western Aussie, but heading down towards the final flight. Clarendon Street now opening up, and fairly easily so. At the last, Clarendon Street across it safely. Not the best jump you'll ever see. It might not matter. Estilic running really nicely is in second place, and then along the inside Western Aussie challenging King of the Cotswolds for third as Redzor weakens out of it, but Clarendon Street is going to win pretty emphatically in the end. Off the mark at the third attempt, Clarendon Street gives Nicky Henderson and Ika de Boinville a double on the day. Estilic was second, back in third Western Aussie, and in fourth King of the Cotswolds.
Clarendon Street wins as the market indicated he would. Nicky Henderson and Nico de Boinville a double on the card and travel into it sweetly. Estilic's run a cracker for Tom Simmons there. A third was a Western Aussie getting the better of King of the Cotswold for that minor berth. But Clarendon Street, Martin, it was all fairly straightforward for the short price favourite.
Yeah, he looks a good horse, doesn't he? He looks above average. We kind of had that impression from him from his 2 starts that he'd produced with promise in defeat, and today he's got the job done pretty effortlessly, really, and that's despite a couple of novice mistakes on the way around. He wasn't great at the last. There's a couple down the back that he probably wasn't that fluent over either, but his ability has shone through more than anything. The way that he's travelled, really just gone clear on the bridle pretty much before that final flight error, and it's all very easy for him now. The racing behind him was weakened a little bit because Redzor, who had that BHA mark of 122, hasn't run to that level. He's been disappointing, so it has been a weaker race than it may have looked like it might be beforehand, but you can still only be impressed by the way that he's gone about it.
And you wouldn't knock the winner for that little mistake at the last. Was it just he was almost going too well into it?
No, he's shown he's a horse having his second start over hurdles, and he's shown at times today that he's pretty swift over them. There's just a couple of novice mistakes in there. In a way, you'd rather see it. You know, he's a horse learning his job, and I'm sure that he'll learn from it as he moves up in class. If you never make a mistake, you're never going to learn, and I'm sure he'll grow up and mature into a really good horse. And like I said beforehand, the mare actually herself was 138 rated chaser. She never won a hurdle race, but she won multiple times over fences, and she was much better over fences. He's got that scope physically to make into a chaser further down the line, so I think all things considered he's an exciting prospect.
Yeah, and despite what you say about it being a weak race, given that Redzor had let the form down a bit or weakened the race, you still have to credit Estilic. The connections will be delighted given that handicaps aren't far away now.
Yeah, well, his last 3 runs now, point to point win. A bit of promise on Rule's debut last time out, and then a much better display showing improvement today from Estilic. So yeah, he's a horse that is going the right way. Western Aussie has built on the promise that he'd shown before coming down on his hurdling debut, when he probably would have finished in the frame that day on his hurdling debut before he fell, and he's managed to be placed today and shown plenty of ability. King of the Cotswolds, he travelled well for much of the race. You can see him now just right on the shoulder of the leader, still on the bridle pretty much, despite having made one notable error through the race. But just see him again up the straight. I'm not sure quite where he finished, but he obviously hasn't quite found as much as you'd have thought.
First 2 got the same side. They're both by Court Cave. It's worth pointing out Estilic is a year younger than Clarendon Street, not in the same parish really as the winner, but even so a promising start as well. And Western Aussie, that's very encouraging going forward, isn't it, given that the horse had clipped heels at Hexham last time out, but as Martin said, was going well at the time. Here we're not learning much, but it's worth pointing out again that this winner, even though jumping out to the right, was always sure-footed.
He was, yeah. And as soon as he sort of got him out of the gap and into room down the outside and switched him, he really opened up, went to the front on the bridle, went clear on the bridle, and like I say, it's only really that minor error getting in close at the final flight of hurdles that gives you a moment of worry up the home straight. You mentioned Western Aussie, talk on him again. He came under pressure, was outpaced on the run to 3 out, but likeable the way that he stuck at it under pressure. Redzor's actually shaped better than the distance beaten, because he was still there and then he's crashed through the final flight of hurdles, which has really tired him.
Yeah, and we read this morning that Mike Bite, the stablemate's going to be having a wind operation as well.
Yeah, and it's worked for others previously. It may well work with him. It certainly needs to, doesn't it, from what we've seen, disappointing runs from him so far this year.
Yeah, but stablemate Clarendon Street has won to complete a double on the card for Nicky Henderson and indeed the winning jockey Nico de Boinville. And we've still got a couple of races to come here at Wetherby as well, the first of which is the 2:55, the Amateur Riders Affair, and then we round off with a bumper at 3:30. Let's get the SPs on this one.
Yeah, 2 to 5 favourite, then Clarendon Street wins as he likes. He's, I think, was second of 16s. Western Aussie was third, also 16 to 1.
When it's an action-packed day in Racing TV, you can harness the power of Racing TV Extra with up to 4 live screens from